So we're now going to measure the aluminium block with slightly more accurate equipment. And the first piece that we're going to use is the vernier calipers. So the very first thing you want to check with the vernier calipers is it actually calibrated correctly? So what we want to just check is that the 0 on this scale lines up with the 0 there, and fortunately for us it does. If it were slightly off, so I'm just going to dial it a little, if it were like this, obviously this would be a very big error and we would probably return those calipers. But if it were like that, we'd then measure the value of this and we'd subtract the difference, but we don't need to worry about that here. So how do we read the calipers? So I'm going to just dial up a random position. Again, these are marked in inches and centimeters, but we're going to mainly focus on the centimeters one because it's an SI unit. And by mainly, I mean we're never going to use inches. So the first thing we want to see where this lower line here, so this line that I'm kind of scratching at with my thumb there, where it lines up with the scale above. So there's 1 centimeter, there's 2 centimeters. There's half a centimeter. So this is actually 1, 2, 3, and it's past the third, but it's not to the fourth. So we need to, so basically we know it's 1.3 to begin with. And then what we want to do next is something that is quite difficult anyway, but more difficult when you're looking through a camcorder viewfinder. You want to find where one of the teeth on the lower scale lines up exactly with one of the teeth on the upper scale. So let's see if we can do that. Yeah. So to my eye, sorry, I know it's at a slight angle, but I adjusted it so I could see without the camera. That one is the one that lines up best. So this would be 1.34. And that makes a bit of sense to me. Because you can see it is closer to the third kind of entry than the fourth one. I'm just going to take this completely away and have a look. Yeah, I do agree with myself. It's a good thing. So now we're going to use this to measure the aluminium blocks. I'll insert some photos, but just a couple of other little things. So usually for this experiment we'll be measuring with these two kind of faces. So you take whatever it is you're measuring, you dial it out, you put it in place. But you can also measure like the internal bore of maybe a cylinder, like a burette, with these faces too. So that would be something we do in the third experiment, for example. The other thing is, like everything else, these are subject to wear. So when you're using one of these calipers, you might want to take multiple measurements at different points. So that you can check maybe there's been damage to the face, things like that. Not a huge concern here because this is aluminium, which is very soft, and this is steel, so if anything the aluminium block's the more likely thing to have deformed. It's just something to bear in mind. So I'm going to take some photos of this so you can have a look at that, and we'll come back.